All right, so we're up to in middle of Ois Zion, and the Rebbe explained that the main thing of mitzvahs is edus, because edus is mamshich atzmus. But in order for it to come down, begilui, that is through chukim, and mishpatim brings it down in a pnimius. So now the Rebbe explains what the question of the Ben Chacham is, not only as we learned in the beginning, that the Ben Chacham wants to know why is it so important to do the mitzvahs Maisiyas after Matan Torah, Eschem after Matan Torah, not just about mitzvahs in general. Maybe that's not such a strong question. Why is mitzvahs mamshich, physical mitzvahs mamshich, godliness? Because it's the rotzin of Hashem. Memela, the mitzvahs are mamshich, the godliness. The question is, how are we mamshich the giluyim? Here we're saying that we take the hamshachas ha'atzmus and we bring it down. Begilu, that's mainly through the chukim, as we said. Let's look inside. So based on this, we just said that the edus is the main, and the chukim and mishpotim is to bring it down in a way of gilui. So we can also say, we can explain the zeh shemashma b'tchilas hamaymer. This, that it appears from the beginning of the Maimer, Sheshailas haben chochem moha eidos v'achukim v'amishpotim goymer. He says, that's we understand. The Maimer explains what's the question of the Ben Chochem. When he says moha eidos chukim v'amishpotim, the kivon shekol hamitzvus hem tzivuye Hashem. Since all mitzvahs are commands of Hashem, so Lama hein nechlokis be'edus chukim mishpatim kenal siv gimel. So why do we have the three different categories? It's mitzvahs of Hashem. Let's just do everything because it's Hashem mitzvah. Why do we need the different categories? So this question, why do we need the categories, that he says in the Maimer, Hugam lahabiur shebehem shechamaimer. So even according to what he explains in the Maimer, the Shailas haben chochem, he eich nimshach gilu elikus al yidei hamitzvah shel achrei matan Torah sheikrom hu asiya bepoil. He explains that the question of the chochem, the son, the chochem, is, how can you bring down revelation of godliness through mitzvahs which are done after Matan Torah, which is mainly doing? The Maimer explains, Meile, before Matan Torah, the mitzvahs were mainly Mekayim in Kavone and Ruchnis. So we understand how they were mamshich godliness, Gilu Elokus. But after Matan Torah lochem, how are you mamshich gilu elukus? Through Maisa. This question is also explained. Why do you need the Eidus Chukim Mishpatim? As Rebbe explained, v'inyan the zeh shal yidei Maisa hamitzvus nasa hamshochas alikus. The fact that when you do a mitzvah, the act of mitzvahs, you bring down godliness, that's not surprising. That's not a pella. The Ben Chochem, just how does Gila Lakus come through mitzvahs is not how could we draw down Elikus. The question is Gilui Elikus. Since mitzvahs are the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so you can be mamshich, so you're mamshich godliness through the mitzvah, because that's the Ratzon Hashem. That's not the question. How could we draw down through mitzvahs? Maisi is the Elikus. That's not a question. How could we draw down godliness? Because the Ratzon Hashem, and when we do the mitzvah, we're drawing down the godliness. Yeshaylach ben Chochem, the question of ben Chochem he al zeh shal yidein ma'isa hamitzvahs nimshach gilui elokus. The question is, how do we have godliness revealed? Not how do we have godliness, but how do we have revealed godliness? What's the question? Why is revealed godliness a problem? The inyan hagadlin, the inyan hagilui, shayich l'chayre laveda ruchnis. When we talk about the revelation, that seems l'chayre. It would seem that's connected to spiritual avodah, v'loy lasiya gashmis, and not to physical doing, because spirituality, kavone, that brings down godliness, that brings down revelation, because you are having kavanah, that's your spirituality, so you can bring down the revelation of godliness. But Mo Hashem Atziva Eschem, now that we're doing the mitzvahs b'maiseh, how do you get Gilui Elikus? B'lochin Omer, and that's why he says specifically, not just Torah. He's saying Moha Eidus v'Chukim HaMishpotim. Since the idea of Eidus Chukim HaMishpotim are to bring Gilui in the world. If you say V'loi Maha Mitzvah it doesn't say why is the mitzvahs, because he specifically wants to emphasize how do we bring down Gilui through Maisa HaMitzvahs. The fact that through mitzvahs you draw down godliness, that is because the common point, which is all mitzvahs equally, they're mitzvahs Hashem, that's why we bring down godliness. They're the command and the will of Hashem. But mitzvahs nachlokis ba'asugim, edus chukim u'mishpotim. The fact that the mitzvahs are divided into the categories of edus chukim u'mishpotim, hu b'neigeya legilu ha'amshocha. That is how it affects that the hamshocha should be begilui. The actual hamshocha, that's mitzvahs, the common denominator, Ratzon Hashem. But for the Ratzon Hashem, the Gilui should come down revealed. That's why we have the three categories of Eidus, Chukim, and Mishpatim. Shebe Eidus HaHamshocha Hi Behelim. When we do the Eidus, the mitzvahs that are Eidus, there we bring down the Hamshocha, but it's obscure. Ubechukim Hamshocha begilui ba'ofen the makif, and through chukim it brings down the revealed, but in a surrounding way. Ba'gilu de mishpatim or gilu b'pnimis. That's the revelation of pnimis. So the levels of giluyim, that is eidus chukim and mishpatim. So b'shaylas ben chochem. So what's the ben chochem's question? Mo ha'edus v'achukim v'hamishpotim. You have all these different levels of giluyim. Eidus chukim mishpotim. Asher tziva Hashem Elokeinu eschem hi. The fact that through mitzvahs you draw down godliness, that is eidus chukim mishpotim. Shebe eidus hamshocha hi behelim. When we do the eidus mitzvahs that are eidus, there we bring down the revealed, but in a surrounding way. Ba'gilu de mishpatim or gilu b'pnimis. That's the revelation of pnimis. So the levels of giluyim, edus chukim mishpotim. You have all these different levels of giluyim. Eidus chukim mishpotim. Asher tziva Hashem Elokeinu eschem hi. that the Eibishter commanded you after Matan Torah. The mitzvahs asher tziva b'Elokeinu eschem la'achri Matan Torah. The mitzvahs that Hashem told you, which means after Matan Torah, she'ikramu asiyah b'poyel, the mainly is the mitzvahs, is the actual doing. In Yonam hu hamshochas elikus. That's doing is bringing down, drawing down, not revealing godliness, but drawing down godliness. So, Vim came, the question is, so what is the differences of Eidul Chuk Mishpatim? Shahachiluk, the Eidus Chukim Mishpatim will be in Agilui. The difference between Eidus Chukim and Mishpatim is in the revelation. The question of the Ben Chocham concentrates not how do we draw down godliness, that's the Ratzon Hashem, even through Ma'aseh mitzvahs. But Ma Hashem Lekechem Am Eidus Chukim Mishpatim. What are all these Giluyim that come down as Chem after Matan Torah from Asiyah? How does the Ma'aseh mitzvahs bring down the Giluyim? Ches. Vatshuva. What's the answer? Avodim hoyinu lepare b'Mitzrayim. We were slaves to Pare Mitzrayim. Vayotzienu havayim Mitzrayim goimer. And the Ebshe took us out of Mitzrayim. Basically, that going out of Mitzrayim gave us the power not only to be mamshich alakus, but also to bring down godliness in a way of re'iyah, in a way of gilui. So what's the answer? Shebematan Torah shahoyo la'achrei ha'agdoma de golus Mitzrayim, b'yitzias Mitzrayim. The Matan Torah that came after the introduction of the exile of Egypt and then going out of Egypt, Nitar HaKoyach, the power was given. Shal yidei mitzvahs ma'asiyos, through mitzvahs in action, yamshichu hamshochos hachinailos. You will be able to draw down the most greatest hamshocha kinavsifalov. And on top of that, the gam shaham shochos shal yidei ma'aseh hamitzvahs yeh begilui. And also that these hamshochas that we do through the act of mitzvahs should be open. Two things. First of all, that we can be mamshich the greatest levels, but not only mamshich, but it should be begilui. That the hamshochas that come through ma'aseh mitzvah should be begilui. And this is the meaning of the pasuk. Vayitzavenu havaye lases as kol hachukim ha'ela liyira. Yira is the same letters as re'iyah. The Eibush that told us to do these chukim, and we learned the chukim is the gilui of the Eidus as we learned. So Hashem told us to do the chukim to reach the level of yira, to reach the level of re'iyah, that to bring it down in a level of re'iyah after going out of Mitzrayim. Yira is oisyos re'iyah. The word liyira, re'iyah is the same letter as seeing. As it says the Maimer. Shaham shoches. Shal yidei asiyas hamitzvahs. That we draw down by doing the mitzvahs. Vayitzavenu goimer lasis. By tzavenu lasis, Hashem told us to do. Doing mitzvahs, yibegila is liyira. Ad loifen yibegila, ad loifen shalriya. That should be revealed so that you can see. That's the revelation. Lasis, to do the chukim, liyira, to bring riyah. Now, the iker gilu hamshochas shal yidei hasiyas hamitzvahs. The main revelation of everything that we draw down by doing mitzvahs, yeh losid love, revealed really will be in the future to come. Then the riyah would be at the highest levels. The ad liyira, to the extent you'll see ois yisriya savaya lekenu. Liyiras Hashem Elokeinu, to see Hashem Elokeinu, Riyas Mahusei Sobaruchu, seeing the essence of the Ein Sobaruchu. We don't really have the real Gilui today. The real Gilui of Riyas Havaya Elokeinu will be lost. Bezehu vayitzaveinu Hashem lasis is kol hachukim. Why does it say dafke chukim? The Rebbe asked before. Because hachukim daike. This is dafke chukim. Because chukim ki kshemekayim hamitzvahs rak mitzad hatam, when you fulfill the mitzvahs only based on reason, hamshoches shal yidei hamitzvahs heim behelam. What you bring down from the mitzvahs are hidden, obscure. It is not revealed. Ubichdei shehamshoches da mitzvahs yiyeh begilui. In order for the hamshoches to be revealed, hu al yidei shekim ha-mitzvahs, when you fulfill the mitzvahs, gam ha-mitzvahs the edus ha-mishpatim, also the edus ha-mishpatim. If you do them, which is Hashem's command, just like chukim, when we do the mitzvahs not based on reason, is when it's based on reason, it's not, you don't see godliness there. It seems reason. It's your seichel that understands them. So it's not revealing godliness. When you're mevatel your seichel to doing it because that is the Ratzin Hashem, then you bring down, even when you're doing all the mitzvahs, whether it's edus or mishpati, but you do it because of chukim, then you bring down the Gilui Hashem. Okay, so what's the question is of the Ben Chochem, why do we need edus chukim and mishpatim giluyim, or how are we mamshich giluyim through Maisa mitzvahs? The answer is that from Mitzrayim we got the koyach lasois liyiros Hashem, we get the level of riyah, and that's why, and that comes through the observers of the chukim. But even this idea seems like the Ben Chochem should know this. Why does the Ben Chochem not know this? The Rebbe continues in Ois Test. Even after all the above, we explained that the question of the Ben Chochem is why, how is it Begilui? And the answer is that through the Golus Mitzrayim, the mitzvahs, Maisius bring down Begilui Elokus. Still, we need to explain it further. The Kivon Shetoiras Emes, Koiras Oisoi B'Shem, Ben Chochem, through Torah calls him the son Achochem Mistaber, so it seems it's logical that he knows the novelty, what Matan Torah accomplished. Matan Torah niten hakoyach, that during Matan Torah the power was given lahamshich al yidei mitzvahs ma'asiyos, that we can draw down by doing mitzvahs in action. Hamshochas achi naili is the greatest hamshochas, and also v'shamshochas hamshochas yu begilui, and it should be openly. That also seems to be nothing. It's a big chiddush for the Ben Chochem. Umahi hashayla moha edus. What is the question? What is the edus? It seems like even this idea that Matan Torah can bring down that through Maisa mitzvahs to Mamshich, the highest level of Begilui, is also something that the Ben Chochem should know. So still, what's his question? So we can explain this based on what it's written elsewhere. The Zeh Shemaisa Ovis Nemar B'Torah. Why does the Torah tell us what the forefathers did? If the forefathers did what the Torah tells us about Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov is something in the past, why do we have to learn about what they did in the past if it doesn't apply to us? It's not relevant to us. Why are we learning about it? So it's explained the fact that the Maisa of is never the Torah. Although the service of the forefathers was only an introduction of Matan Torah, but right now we're after Matan Torah. Why do we need to know how the Ovis did the mitzvahs if we're already by Matan Torah? So it's explained who lifi shegam achshov laachre Matan Torah, because even now after Matan Torah, tzricha liyas avoda shebedugmas avodas Ovis. We still need to do the service similar to the avodas Ovis. So it is relevant now. What is the idea? The zeh shenitztavinu b'chol yom v'yom yu beinecha, that we are told that in every day the Torah should be kachadoshim, as if it's new, v'yiseirim mizu chadoshim, or sometimes the language is new. The Torah should be new. So we know that the Torah has to always be new. Pashtus, always, it means, what does it mean like new? It says like an old, shouldn't be like an old letter, old news that you know already. You should treat the Torah as if this is a new, something new. But the Rebbe says more than that. It's not only that it should be like a new thing, like it's fresh. It doesn't just relate to the preciousness, how dear of Torah mitzvah is something new. Elogam b'negeya lelimud haTorah v'kiyum hamitzvahs atzma. It important. It connects. It's important. It's relevant. Torah mitzvahs, studying Torah and doing mitzvahs are new every day. Not only they're precious, but it's like new. V'ad sha'Torah mitzvahs shahoyu etzlei koydem, to the extent that the Torah mitzvahs that he had before, it's like a new Torah mitzvahs. When he's learning today, every day you have to be on a new level. So it's like it's a whole new level of Torah mitzvahs. That is the idea of Chadoshim. It's a new Torah mitzvah. Not only that, it's important, it's dear, but it's like the command, Mailim B'Kodesh, you have to always go up. The Torah and mitzvahs that I do today is on a higher level, something new than the day before. To the extent you go up, no comparison. To the extent the Torah mitzvahs that I had before, they're either almost like nothing considered, or they're not considered anything, relative to the Torah mitzvahs of today. It's a new Torah mitzvahs. That's why Torah mitzvahs he does today, of this day, they're either like new or new. So we're saying now that every day there is like Matan Torah, there's always a new Torah mitzvah. So Bezehu, and this is the idea that we're saying by the Ovis, Shagam Achshov La'achrei Matan Torah, that even now after Matan Torah, Tzricha Liyas Havoida Shebedugmas Havoidas Ha'ovis Koida Matan Torah. We need to have the service that is similar to the avodah of the fathers for before Matan Torah. Ki Matan Torah hu b'chol yom. So basically today the Eibush is giving the Torah again. So we have prepare ourselves for the Torah. So the avodas office, which is before Matan Torah, applies every day, because since Matan Torah b'chol yom is every day, as we say, Nosson HaTorah, Baruch Atah Hashem, Nosson, he gives constantly, every day, Loshen Hoida, present, the Eibush is giving always the Torah. Ubechol Yom Ubedarge Nailis Yes, and every day is in a higher level. V'lochein tzorich liyas b'chol yom, that's why every day needs to be Avoida shebedugmas avodas adam. You have to serve similarly to the avodah of the father because you're getting the Torah again. Shiachona v'agdoma lematan Torah d'yem zeh. That's the preparation and the introduction of Matan Torah of that day. Because Torah is being given every day. So you're preparing yourself the same achona of Matan Torah. So now, so based on this, we can explain that what is the question of the Ben Chochem? Moha Edus, Goimer, Asher Tziva Eschem, that he's told you, Ki ha-Torah mitzvah shel Ben Chochem, the Torah mitzvah of the Ben Chochem, who's growing Heim B'chol Yom Chadoshim Mamish, they're actually new every day. V'lochein hu nimtzo tomid b'aschola soy, and oh, so he's always in the beginning. He's always before Matan Torah because he's always getting the Torah. So he's constantly in before Matan Torah. So so he's asking, he says, you, Eschem, you and not him, he is still before Matan Torah. The Ben Chochem, because he's at such a high level that the Torah is Chadoshim, so he's saying, Eschem, you already got the Torah, but he doesn't have the Torah yet because he's just getting the Torah. He's still working with Avedis Ovis from before Matan Torah. So he's saying, Eschem, because of his great level, that by him it's Chadoshim. So he's now before Matan Torah getting the Torah b'chol year. Yud. V'yesh lekasher zeh, im zeh sh'ashaylis ha-ben chochem hi be'ikar b'leil ha-Pesach. To explain that the Ben Chochem's question is mainly on Pesach, he's asking. Avsha shayla mo'edus goimer, the pastors, the question, what is the edus, ibn egel l'chol sa-mitzvahs? That's all mitzvahs. We're not talking about why are we doing Pesach. But the mitzvah is not specifically geared, where the Torah describes Moedus Vachukim is not specifically about Pesach. Why is it only Pesach? Because by Pesach, that is when the Jewish people were born. It became a people. Abishah took us out, made us into a people. As the Navi says, that is the equates to the birth of the Jewish people. And this is why the Pesach festival has a special connection to education. Is kichinuch, to teach the children, because the education of children begins as soon as he's born. So that's why we're born, we start to educate. This is the connection of the question of the Ben Chochem with the night of Pesach. The reason he's asking Moha Edus is because the fact that the Chochem is constantly going up one elevation after another elevation, who nimtza b'matzav shelifnei matan Torah. He is always in a condition, in a situation before Matan Torah, because he's always going up to a higher level. So he feels himself, he hasn't gotten the Torah yet. He's going up another level. And he feels that he doesn't have any connections to nothing. He doesn't have yet anything because he's on a whole new level. It's like a child as soon as he was born. So therefore, he asks the question, Moha Edus, on Pesach, because Pesach is birth. That is when the Jewish people were born, and that's when the question comes around. So what's the answer, Yud Aleph? Vatshuva, and the answer is, so the question is, he's right now before Matan Torah, So, how are we accomplishing everything through the Maisa HaMitzvahs that we're doing? The answer is Avodim Hoyinu Lepare b'Mitzrayim v'Yetzeinu Havayim b'Mitzrayim b'Yod Chazokei. So what's the answer? He doesn't feel like I can do anything. How am I? Eschem, how are we going to bring on all the Gilui and the Hamshachas? He always feels like he's just in the beginning. He's the format in Torah. Shagam Mishuhu. So the answer is Shagam Mishu B'Dargis Tinik. Even one who is in the level of a child. Instantly, you were just born. At that instant, you were born. Even at that level. Which would include even somebody who's literally a newborn. Here we're talking, he's a newborn. He always feels himself like before Matan Torah. He always feels like he knows nothing. He always feels himself like he's before Matan Torah. But the answer is even a person who is really literally born now. Not only like the Ben Chochem, the fact that he's like a child, like born, is mitzad his great elevation. So now, before the next elevation, he's like nothing. He's like just newborn. Not only a child. Even one who is in a condition, is a situation, he's a slave to Par Mitzrayim, which is Lifnei Haleida Ditzis Mitzrayim. He hasn't been born yet. He is still in Mitzrayim. Ditzis Mitzrayim. Moitzi Havaya Oisem Mitzrayim Biyot Chazokah. The Eibishter takes him out from Mitzrayim with a strong hand. The Biyot Chazokah who toikev ha'izgalus. Strong hand means the force of revelation. All right. Va'ad shenigla aleihem melech malchem lochem HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chveido ba'atzma go'olam. To the extent this forced hand means that with a strong arm is revelation that the melech malchem lochem, the Eibishter himself, b'chveido ba'atzma u'go'olam, in his honor by himself redeemed them. That's a jump from one extreme to the other. He's still in Mitzrayim, and vayetzienu Hashem Elokeinu Atzmus comes down to him the Yod Chazokah. Nahamata b'yoser avodim lepari b'Mitzrayim, from the lowest level, being slave to Pari Mitzrayim, lahamayla b'yoser, to the highest level, hagilui, the bechveido ba'atzme, the revelation of bechveido ba'atzme. V'cheiti elonu, so this should be for us. Asher kimei tzeischom eretz Mitzrayim arenu neflois. Just like the days we went out of Egypt, Hashem will show us the miracles, the wonders, now too. Geula b'derech diluk, to redeem us in a way of a jump over. Min hakotze el hakotze, from one extreme to the other extreme. Shemechoyshech hakofel u'mechupel de golus, from the double and quadrupled darkness of this exile. Ubefrat bedora de ikusa de Mashiach. Especially we're talking about the generations of the hill of Mashiach. Sha'achoyd shech godel oid yoser, in which the darkness is even greater. Boyim miyad lahagilui, immediately we come to the revelation, the venigla kveid havaya v'rol kol basar goymer, to that highest revelation, the extreme, in which the glory of Hashem will be revealed and all flesh will see. V'hoysol Hashem amlucha, the kingdom will be to Hashem, b'viyas Mashiach tzidkenu b'meher b'meinu mamish, with the coming of a righteous Mashiach very soon nowadays. So basically in this Maimer, the Rebbe explained the different issues that the Ben Chacham had. Either his issue is how does Maisa HaMitzvahs, not Kavonas HaMitzvahs, accomplish before Matan Torah, it did accomplish it through Kavona, and now is through Maisa. The Rebbe explained further that the question is really not how do we get the Maisa, the Hamshachas Elokus, but how do we get the Gilui of Elokus. But finally, the Rebbe explained that the Ben Chochem, actually because of his Maila, because he always feels himself in a level that he's getting the Torah, so he considers himself on a low level, And his question is, how could a nobody like himself? The Rebbe says there is a Tinuk who's really born, but he feels himself like a nobody because he's before Matan Torah. And the answer is that even somebody who's in Mitzrayim, the Eibishter gave the Koiches Ve'etzeinu Hashem from one extreme, that we have the level of Atzmus come down and take him out beyond Chazokah, so that our mitzvahs that we do bring down the level of Atzmus and bring it down Begilui, as the Rebbe says, through the coming, that the revelation will be B'bis Mashiach Tzidkeinu B'meheru B'meinu Mamash. Okay, we'll leave it over here. And we'll be mamshich tomorrow with the next Maimer, Be'ezer Hashem.
Mirza Hashem. See you then. Bye-bye.